Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's your boy EQ, and up next we have 50 Cent and Ye speaking on the downfall of Drake, with 50 saying that UMG did the same thing for Drake that he's accusing them of doing for Kendrick, and Ye acknowledging that Drake could still come back, even comparing him to Steph Curry. And Ye and Drake have obviously had a very on and off again industry friendship that has been very well documented. And I say industry friendship because these guys throw around the friendship label a little too liberally for me. But their relationship has definitely been tumultuous, from Ye proclaiming how great he is to then calling for his destruction. But Ye comparing Steph and Drake is honestly wild, because Steph never did one iota of the things Drake has done this year alone to his own reputation. On the contrary, he's actually been totally free of scandal. I feel like the only scandal that ever comes out of that Curry household comes from Aisha. And beyond this past year, Drake seems to have built a ton of bad equity, because the industry definitely showed who they stand behind. You had Lucian Grainge high-fiving Dr. Dre, Taylor Swift gyrating with her glass of champagne, thousands of people chanting A minor, and Drake, those are your colleagues. And if that wasn't enough, the part of the record that they chose to play as Kendrick walked up to accept his Grammy Award, in a Canadian tuxedo by the way, which is just another double entendre, is definitely a clear indicator of how the industry feels. And we got the perfect example of how much a major artist must rely on the big conglomerates to really hit the metrics that Drake has achieved over his career. Like I said, we got a sample of that when we saw Drake drop miss after miss with records that probably more than likely would have went off a few years ago if the label had pushed the button. And without that label support, those records came and went. They fizzled as quickly as they came in. So while anything is possible, it's going to be very hard for Drake to shake the perception that he's built over the past year, and I really don't believe that Drake is going to fall off the face of the earth music-wise. He's obviously still going to stream big, but as far as being viewed as he was before the beef, I really don't ever see that being the case. So enough dilly-dallying, let's jump right into the videos. First 50 speaking on the situation, and then Ye speaking on the downfall of Drake and acknowledging Drake could still come back. To quote Drake himself, man, nothing was the same. And he honestly brought it on himself.
Your records could just, you can do everything wrong with a record and it still go where it's supposed to go.
Facts.
In the beginning. Because they're deciding you new and they're finding you, the audience. After you establish yourself as an established artist, you cannot work without a plan. It has to.
Yeah, he's 1000% right. He becomes so dependent on the machine. And a lot of these artists don't do their own due diligence and try to learn as their career goes, which is why you see a lot of these artists just spiral out into oblivion. Look at somebody like a Bow Wow, who at one time, I know he's the butt of all jokes, but he was on top of the world, to now be where he's at now, where he's like constantly blaming Jermaine Dupri for not teaching him the business. And you can't blame others, you gotta be proactive. And I'm pretty sure 50 is referring to operating at the same level that they once were. Because once a lot of these artists do lose that major support, they just downgrade from stadiums and arenas to smaller theaters and clubs. But that's surely gonna depend on who you put around you. And with the moves that Drake has been pulling off this past year, I don't think no one is really sure that the dude has anyone competent around him.
Come out and be orchestrated properly for you to have the hit. That's why I was say, look, when you're talking about Drake suing the Universal, they did everything Drake saying they did. They did it, but
Of course,
they did it for Drake too.
Yeah, been doing that.
You see what I'm saying? They did that. That's the way the business works.
Can you push the button for you?
No, but I was.
Of course they did.
I was already headed that way. So much groundwork to swirl over. Your records could just. You can do everything wrong with a record, and it's still.
Yeah, well, obviously they did it for 50. Yeah, he was obviously destined to be a superstar, so if it wasn't Shady Interscope, it would have definitely been another label. But all these major superstars have had the big machine behind them. Ye at one point was the golden child himself, until he burnt those bridges. And while he's thriving independently, he's obviously been facing hurdles that he's never really had to think about before. It's a lot easier to come out with a product when you have the backing of these big conglomerates. When you have Nike behind you, when you have Adidas behind you, they have all the relationships with all the manufacturers. They've done it before, so it's a lot easier to realize those ideas. But I totally agree with 50, man. At the end of the day, Drake, you benefited from this system for over 15 years, allegedly. So to now cry about it because they've moved on, and honestly you being the biggest catalyst for that, sounds, looks, and feels very hypocritical, fam. So up next, let's jump into the Ye clip. It's honestly just a clip where he threw up his Justin LeBoy video on the wall of a club that he was at yesterday, where he was acknowledging that Drake could still come back. Crazy. This guy is definition of on and off again.
Kendrick killed Drake, he's dead.
Yeah, for now. You know, you can't ever count out Steph Curry. So that man might hit 200 points in one, song or something. You know what?
Yeah, but that's a false equivalency. Like I said earlier in the intro, Steph never did one iota of the stuff Drake has done this past year alone. And Steph has never handled defeat the way Drake is handling defeat. Definitely been a lot more gracious about it.
What it was is like Kendrick brought, like, look at the Tyler, the Creator, freestyle that he did. Like, I'm that guy, right? We have to, Drake added something to the algorithm, to our frequency. He advances, Future advances, and our Kendrick is now advancing frequency. So you have to, it's like when Twisted came out, there was rappers that didn't learn, right? But then Jay-Z learned. He did Is That Your Bitch? He could do it. If you don't really learn as just a professional rapper, as a sport, what Kendrick is doing, you might be wiped. Yeah. You might be wiped out.
Because Kendrick's on that time. Kendrick killed Drake.
I feel like we can never truly get a handle on how Kanye feels. And it's crazy because no one has asked for his opinion on all this, even when he tried to throw himself into the beef by also dissing Drake. He dropped that Like That remix and no one cared at all, honestly. It came and went within an hour. Calling for the destruction of Drake and then no one acknowledging you said it is hilarious and shows how much they want you to weigh in on this topic. But yeah, don't do Steph dirty by comparing him to Drake. Drake is really the one that led to the events that actually has his career in a tailspin. He can blame the labels and bots and payola all he wants, but the way he chose to react to all this is what really put the nail in the coffin. And yeah, Drake could obviously catch another hit if he goes back into like the pop lane, and he may get a record that spins all over your favorite target. But I truly do think he's definitely lost the respect of a lot of people, if they had any respect for him to begin with. And I feel like the only reason he's dredging all this stuff back up is because of Kendrick's historic night at the Grammys. Like I said earlier, man, energy in that venue was crazy. You definitely felt who the industry was behind, and it's not Drake. And I truly don't think that people flip on somebody when they've been acting in good faith and building good equity. This definitely feels like it comes from like tons of years of resentment. But definitely let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about what 50 said about the whole situation? That, yeah, man, UMG did the same thing for Drake as well. I obviously think that's the case. And I feel like anybody with a brain would understand that. And also let me know what you guys think about Ye bringing all this stuff back into the limelight. I feel like we forgot about this interview. We forgot about that Like That remix. And honestly, I really don't think that anybody truly cares for Kanye weighing in on this situation anyway. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I really want to thank you guys so much for making this channel a part of your day. It truly means the world to me. And I also want to let you guys know how grateful I am for all the love and support you guys continue to show this channel on a daily, because it's honestly the biggest factor in me making these videos. So I'm really looking forward to what you guys have to say on this topic. Hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. And yeah, man, nothing will ever be the same. People may forgive, but they never forget.